Hey everybody, Ron here, and today I will be covering Assignment Danger, espionage thriller RPG, an expansion for the EZD6 system. In this 150-page PDF by Bruce Ballon, you will find rules and options to play a wide variety of spy games, which is a genre that I have some affection for, although I haven't played a whole lot of in my role-playing career or history, but it was something that was intriguing to me. And if you dig around on my channel, about a couple of months ago, I did an interview with Bruce talking about EZD6 and Assignment Danger in general on the Ron Talks Tabletop podcast. Go check that out if you want some more preliminary information about the big picture and what Bruce was going for and all other sorts of interesting stuff. Interesting fellow. Anyway, you have the book starts with some special thanks and inspirations. It mentions James Bond, 007 RPG, Top Secret, and Call of Cthulhu, to name a few. It mentions that this is an open EZD6 book, and then you have the table of contents. There's a foreword by DM Scotty, which is very cool, and an introduction. Welcome to Danger. Agents of Danger are the disavowed agent network for global emergency response. It is a covert international spy agency that takes on missions that other agencies deem too dangerous or are not equipped to handle. Sounds very reminiscent of the Impossible Mission Force, right? And so you have some core rules variations on one page of this, but mainly it's just a change in the story elements, narrative elements. Basically, EZD6, you have heroes. In this game, you have agent. EZD6, you have the miraculous save. In this game, it's called the avoidance save. Stuff like that. The further deviations in the game are all optional rules, so that's really cool. You can play with any of the optional rules and none of the optional rules. You have your agent creation. You have your different agent archetypes. There are 8 in the book. The assassin, hacker, mask, planner, point person, shadow, technician, and transporter. And then you would choose your agent specialty. So each archetype has a couple of specialties to choose from. And then you pick 3 talents, which are inclinations in regular EZD6. You can create 2 facets, which are aspects. And then you create an agent signature action, which is something that is a variation where you create one signature action and you gain karma once per mission by using a signature action. Now, this is kind of like the trinket optional rule in EZD6, where if you can bring the trinket in the narrative play, you can gain a karma once per session. This is basically that, but just from a slightly different angle, and I really like that. And then you can optionally create a special personal item that, that give you some extra oomph. I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then you select your gear, and then you have your character. Now, one of the things about this game is that all agent archetypes have many things in common. For example, you have your physical strike of 3. In this game, you have mental strikes as an optional rule, also of 3, if you want to play with the psychological game. Your avoidance roll is 6. Your karma roll by default is 3. And armor is variable based on the armor that you wear. So the assassin has a boon to melee and ranged combat and can dual wield pistols, small machine guns, and melee weapons. Means, from what I understand, that they can attack 2 targets or attack twice. And then their specialties are toughness, which gives them an extra strike and a boon to stun resistance. You can be a sniper, boon for ranged combat, and then you can crit on a 5+ if they wait for the targeted opponent to go first. And then silent and deadly, which melee kills are silent and do not draw attention if the attacker remains hidden. And then they can choose 3 from the agent talents list, create 2 agent facets, and create 1 signature action. And I won't go through all of the archetypes in detail, but just kind of give you an overview. The hacker, it can hack networks and whatnot. You get a boon to hacking and a boon to device construction that can detect, disrupt, interfere with, and join various cyber comms and digital networks. Their specialties are deepfake, tricks of the trade, or best left unseen. Then you get the masks. The mask example characters are Dana Lambert, Paris, Jane Smith, John Smith. They're the experts in designs, manipulation, and charm. You get a boon to impersonation and a boon to communication skills that enable the agent to lie without a tell and so on and that kind of stuff. Their specialties are Master of Disguise or Con Artist or Honeypot. And they do things that you might expect them to do. The planner is the mastermind, like Hans Gruber, Jim Felt, Daniel Briggs. This is not a spy game, but it's an action show, the A-Team. Hannibal. They're the mastermind of the team. They are always one step ahead. Their innate ability is mastermind. And so this is something where they can draw their knowledge to identify a way forward when they're stuck. Basically, the rabble rouser will give it a clue in that event. and they have a boon of general knowledge, news, and trivia. They have 3 different specialties. One is called Always One Step Ahead, Plan B, and Long Shot. The point person has a diverse array of skills. They're basically a jack of all trades. They're an important person. They're a wild card. They will do whatever you need them to do and pick up the slack. And they also have kind of a leadership ability too. Like Ethan Hunt. Their innate abilities are leadership and a jack of all trades. Their specialty is they get to choose one specialty for any other agent archetype. So basically, if you want some flexibility in your character, the point person is the way to go. The Shadow, and I love the art in this picture, this looks like the Black Widow, and I'm sure that's on purpose. But examples are Diabolique, Max Guerrero, Selena Kyle. Shadow's an expert in stealth, surveillance, and infiltration. They get a boon in surveillance, stealth. Their specialties are you choose one of parkour, sneak attack, or danger attuned. The Technician, MacGyver, Q, those are examples. They are highly skilled professionals who exist on the bleeding edge of technology. Of course they do. And they can do gadgets and stuff. Plus 1 boon to mechanical objects. And when equipped with tools, they can repair weapons and construct objects. They choose from specialties of Tinkerer, Military Engineer, and SFX. And finally, we have the Transporter, who is like the driver, Frank Martin, Lenny Ortiz, Willie Armitage, or like the Transporter from the Transporter movies. They have a boon to vehicle operation and a boon to vehicle and machine mechanics. And they can choose from specialties of getaway driver, beaster, and stunt person. And so next after that, you have a list of talents like 00, which is you start each mission with 6 karma instead of 3. A lot of these are just reflavorings of the EZD6 talents, but some of them are slightly different too. So they're nice. There's about 30, give or take, just like the standard EZD6 system. There are also optional special talents, and so the book gives rules for that. For example, you have the psionic category. Psionics are optional rules. You need mental strikes for that. For example, empath is one. Mind blast, mind control, telepathy, that kind of stuff. There's a parahuman category, which you can get dense skin, energy and force manipulation, extreme survival, magic, and so on and so forth. So as an aside, folks, back in 2014, I was enamored with Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I still am enamored with that movie. So much so that I was like, I want a game that is just this, just these setting assumptions and everything. So I scribbled down notes in my Google Docs as I traveled to visit my then girlfriend, now wife, in Toronto. And I was using the Fate system, but then I discovered another game based on Savage Worlds. Like, ooh, that's a great replacement. But now this game, Assignment Danger, this is even better because this is a system that is really light and easy to play. Like, this is something I can get a group together and they can pick up and play, and it's fantastic. So I can run my Project Paragon campaign. Maybe I'll do that someday. Anyway, other special talent, there's a cyborg category, which you get super strength, extra regeneration, rubbery bones, that kind of stuff, right? And then there's a genius category. In this category, the agents train rigorously using advanced methods to push themselves to the very limit of human capacity. And that is it for the special talents. And of course, you can create 2 facets. And this book gives a whole bunch of examples for agent facets. Then a signature action. For example, signature actions are like a one-liner, a catchphrase, a moral rant, quote, shaken, not stirred, and so on and so forth. And then it gives rules for the special personal item. And the next section after that is a gear section where it details some gear, which this game is not a game about gear porn like other systems are. So there's slight differentiation, but it's mainly just, I won't say it's mainly narrative, but there is not a whole lot of mechanical differentiation. I'm fine with that. I think there's just enough to make it interesting for a quick pick up and play game. And I even think with the right group of players, you can play something more long term with this system. I mean, if they don't care about super detailed mechanics in their role-playing games, then this is a great system to run a long-term game with, right? Not everybody want Pathfinder, D&D 3.5 or GURPS or something like that. And so you have optional rules for advanced gear as well, and high-tech weapons, drugs and pharmaceuticals, poisons. And then you have the vehicle section. Now with vehicles have structure points like physical strikes, and you can apply base to them, and the driver of a vehicle can use any of their appropriate talents to affect the vehicle. And then you have chase rules in which, the vehicle speed comes into play and other effects. There's a list of vehicle enhancement, and then there's chase rules. Either do vehicle versus vehicle, vehicle versus non-vehicle, or non-vehicle versus non-vehicle. Each participant in the chase performs the following steps. They can attempt to change their range and speed. They can attempt maneuvers and then deal with potential crashes and accidents. So there's some rules for range and speed and different modifiers and obstacles and everything like that. Then there's optional rules for agents calling for help, which is neat. And then there's optional rules for combat, like grappling attacks and non-lethal knockouts. You have death traps and other hazards. And then there's a section on cinematic death. You can do basically something I've seen in some games lately is what Professor Dungeon Master termed the at hell's heart. If an agent loses their final physical strike, the rabble rouser can allow them to have a boon to one last out-of-turn action, giving them the chance to do something special. I remember Professor Dungeon Master talking about this. I don't think he talks about it on a YouTube video. He talks about it in a Patreon video in his Deathbringer game that he's constantly evolving and working on. But now seeing it in the Daggerheart preview, and it's just a really neat way to handle death. Give somebody the opportunity to do something awesome before their character dies. I mean, how many times you see that in a movie or TV show, right? And then there's a whole system for psychological trauma. And one nice thing about the book, it really talks about dealing with trying to handle this type of game with care and precision. That's a good thing to have. So after the mental strike, psychological warfare, and trauma section, it gives mission briefings and some guidance for running the game and creating missions and whatnot. Gives some common plot points. Talks about escaping, capture, and death trap. Has a list of alternative spy organizations, which are really handy. It outlines one called Medusa, but it also has a list of about 30 or so other more organizations that the rabble rouser can describe themselves. And some optional rules for world building for karma to get the players involved in the world building elements, which I like. Talks a little bit about villainy, having a villain resource pool, and some bad penny points, which work kind of like karma, and some rules for supporting characters. You can flesh out the villains with villain boons and villain facets and villain type. Gives a couple of examples. Gives some examples of rookie agents that you might be training, or agents that might be in trouble during a mission, and that kind of stuff. And that is the game. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. This is just an overview of the game because I find it interesting. Obviously, I found it interesting enough to back the Kickstarter and interview the designer. But the book came out really well. I got the PDF. The art looks great. I can't wait to get a physical copy of this. I think I am going to use this game to run a spy game, or at least maybe I'll go back and do my Project Paragon like I have wanted to do for years and years. I hope you folks enjoyed this video, and until next time, see you later.